Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about the scum of the Blitz player base. People that are rigging battles so that they can have fake statistics and pretend like they are good at the game, when in reality they're clearly not. What exactly am I talking about? Well, throughout the history of Blitz, there have been constant examples of players rigging battles. And today, I'm going to be talking about the many ways that players have tried to rig games. Honestly, though, just as a quick side note, if you are rigging battles, if you're the kind of player that has such a fragile ego that you have to cheat a mobile video game to then boast those fake stats online and pretend like you're skilled, dude, that's pretty dang sad. Like, seriously, that's pretty dang sad. You should be ashamed of yourself. Imagine being that, lame in life that you have to pretend like you're good at a video game by cheating. Either way, with that being said, there have been multiple examples of rigging throughout Blitz's history. The most common form of rigging, which is totally a bannable offense, is by doing countdowns, platoon countdowns. That is when you are in a VC with a bunch of other players, and you do countdowns so that you all try to get into the same battle. And then you have your friends who are on the enemy team purposefully drive into the open and either kill themselves to you so you can get the farm off of them, or they'll push teammates into the open so that you can farm those players, and they'll just troll, right? I've seen that happen many times. There's a player called Nisk who in the past got, I think, their account banned from doing it. It's a pretty, deplorable act to do that, but I've seen it throughout Blitz's history. I've seen it in my games. I've seen it in pub battles. It's pretty obvious to see when somebody's doing that. There's games like this one here, where you can clearly see something fishy is going on when the entire enemy team is AFK and all in the exact same spot. There could have been a connection issue, but why did the connection issue occur? Throughout my battles in Blitz, literally, I've never once had a connection issue like this. And even if I did, I would just reload the game and log back in. But we can clearly see that's not the case here. This is just a bunch of players that are completely disconnected from the game. And, yeah, weird, dude. Woo, I wonder why they're all disconnected. Now, in the past, there was a line of text that you could actually paste into Blitz, and it would allow people, to completely manipulate the game. If you type that line of text into the battle chat and pressed enter, it would cause everybody's game to lag out, apart from yours. And that could be what we're looking at here, right? I mean, it's definitely a little weird when every single player on both teams, apart from a few people, have the ability to farm, right? I mean, look at this E4. Dude's already up to 7,000 damage. And then there's the enemy E6, which is the only player on the enemy team that isn't AFK, who does die, but it's definitely a little weird to me that the E6 is the only player on the enemy team that that wasn't AFK. That's it. There's only one player on the enemy team. So was the E6 responsible for this? I don't know. But what I can tell you is that every single player on the enemy team... Oh, well, my game crashed. I'll reload it. Every single player on the enemy team, apart from that E6, did 0 damage. And almost every single player on the team that we watched also did 0 damage. To me, it seems like that's not just a connection issue. That seems like there's something more going on in the background. Something happened on purpose so that somebody could farm damage. That's all I'm going to say. And it clearly looks like that. I think most of you are going to agree. So if we go back to that game there, we go over to the replay, and we take a look at the post-game results, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. And this isn't Noob MM, by the way. This is a real battle with real players. So here we go. This time my game is actually loading. So we take a look at the post-game results. 9,800 damage. Look at this. The E6 is the only player to deal damage on the enemy team. Every single player does 0. Almost every player on this team also does 0. The Kron went AFK and rammed somebody. But, yeah, definitely a little fishy. Not gonna lie, definitely a little fishy. I don't know if the E4 is part of this or what it is, but, yeah, it just looks a little suspicious when you see 0,000,007,500, 0,000,009,800. It's a little weird, dude. I don't know why you'd upload that replay to BlitzStars, because it's definitely not a replay that's ever going to be accepted, and it just allows me to see that there's definitely some nefarious activities going on. But we don't just have that. Let me show you another great example here of a player that, to me, clearly looks like they're rigging. I don't care if this person watches this video. This looks rigged to me. We have somebody's statistics here on the EU server who is averaging 4,400 average damage in tier 10. Now that already looks really suspicious, especially when you look at this player's statistics and you see that they have over 42,000 games. It's a little weird to see that that player is able to average, outside of Noob MM, over 4,400 average damage. And you take a look at, their Stridsvon K statistics, for example, 86% win rate, 5,300 average damage for 43 games. I'm sorry, the chance of me believing that these stats are real is slim to none, dude. I'm sorry, I just don't believe that there's a player out there who can go 90% win rate, solo, and average 5,300 average damage in a Stridsvon K. And maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the one who's delusional. But you guys gotta agree, that seems a little suspicious. It does. It seems that there's some sort of nefarious activities going on in the background. And there have been multiple examples of rigging that many players, especially on the EU server, have been taking advantage of, and I am the one to call them out. These stats don't look real to me. They just don't look real. So what exactly am I talking about? Well, one of the examples of rigging that was going on is that if you played 3 games in ratings, I should mention this has been patched now, but there's a new version which I know about, but I'm not going to say here because I don't want players to take advantage of it. But if you played 3 rating battles, or maybe it was 5, I don't remember exactly, but if you played a certain amount of rating games and you performed above, I think it was 3,000 average damage for the games that you played, if you then swapped to pub matches, it would guaranteed give you bots every single game you played in pubs. It would count towards your stats, but you would literally have bots every single battle that you played in pubs. And somebody even showed me this. They streamed it to me. So I know for a fact that it worked. And yeah, they showed me players and names that were abusing this on the European server. Now, obviously, I reported some of these players, and a lot of players did get permanently banned for this. So good. Good. I think that if you're rigging battles to the point where you have to fake your stats, you should get permanently banned. And Wargaming has since patched this one. But now there's another glitch which also allows you to fight bots in pub matches. The fact that this is something that's actually going on is incredibly sad, dude. I mean, it's incredibly sad. Whenever I see anybody that's averaging over 4,000 plus damage in tier 10, I consider it pretty sus. Because when you look at Blitz stars, for example, and you look at the top players in the game, most of the players are sitting at around, 3,000 average damage. Like, for example, if we go to Blitz stars, if I go to players on Blitz stars right now, and we look at the highest average damage players. We go to damage per battle. We look at the highest damage players, right? You take a look. And most players that, in my opinion, aren't abusing the game are sitting at around 35 to 3,800 average damage. This is what I consider to be pretty normal. I think this is actually Peter KekW here, Giga Chad 5, 50,000 or whatever. But this to me is pretty normal for what I would consider to be like the top performing players. But then you just see these weird outliers, 4,025, 4,301. And to me, that doesn't seem normal. That seems like something that is a statistical anomaly, and it doesn't make sense. So, if you were to ask me, I think there's a little something sus going on. Now, I could be wrong, and I'd love to talk to the players that do average over 4,000 damage and have them stream the games to me, and I would love to see them, not abusing the game. But to me, it just seems a little weird. And what's funny is that previously, when the ratings glitch was going on, there was like a whole bunch of players averaging over 4K. Like, if you were to look at the list, I think the top 30 players were over 4K, and now there's only like 4. Because most of the players got banned for rigging and they can't play the game anymore, or because Wargaming patched it, they don't achieve those stats anymore. So it's such a good example of that. There is rigging in Blitz. It's a serious problem. Wargaming needs to work on patching these issues, but I don't know. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments. Either way, hopefully enjoy the video. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.